the vibe changed in that locker room. It went from, hey, how you doing? How you doing? To, okay, I got a job to do.
Oh my gosh. Do you know in the mind when this happens, I'm like, oh my goodness, what do we have?
This podcast is intended solely for educational and discussion purposes. The content shared within this program is not meant to embarrass, criticize, or humiliate any official, coach, team, conference, or fan. Our goal is to educate, inform, and promote a deeper understanding of the art and the profession of officiating, providing insight that benefits all who love and support the game. Welcome to another episode of The Play is the Play. And I am Violet Palmer, and I am so excited. I have two phenomenal guests that are going to join me today. I have one of my fellow officials, Kenny Nash. Him and I are going to do The Play is the Play, breaking down a play and having the discussion. But I will also have another special guest, Mr. Brown. And this story, you guys are gonna love it. Mr. Brown, I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Brown on his first Division I games. Without further ado, we're gonna get started. We're back for another Keepin It Real. And this, my special guest, Schel Brown, is gonna hang out with me for a little while, and him and I are gonna have a great discussion. You guys are not going to believe that I was the crew chief for his first Division I assignment. And when he told me this, so I thought, you know what? I couldn't have a perfect person to share just his experiences as a Division I referee when he was a young official. I was young at the time, trying to find my way. I hadn't even gotten in the NBA. NBA wasn't even in my forefront. I was just a collegiate referee, trying to get a couple of plays right and just to have that experience. So Schel Brown, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm so elated to have you here with us on our Keepin It Real segment on our podcast. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of why I have you on today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Violet, for having me. It's an honor. Again, I live up in the northern Santa Barbara area, Lompoc. Mm-hmm. I'm an administrator. I've been administrator for 29 years at every different level: elementary, middle, high school, adult education. And learning the ins and outs of administration has really helped in my officiating. As you know, a lot of officials are teachers and administrators, and
absolutely,
the communication and dealing with the kids, it really helps out. I've been officiating. I started officiating back in the 80s. I was in the military, and that's where I started. And it took me overseas, and I did some ball in the PACAF over in Asia. Came back here, met a wonderful human being by the name of Mel Gaston, and he kind of put me under his wing, and here I am today.
Wow, really nice, really nice. Well, I'm so happy to have you on, and I couldn't believe when I ran into you and you gave me the story, and when you said, and I don't even know if I knew back when I was a little young referee trying to be a leader and trying to find my way, that I even knew that it was your first Division I game. Is that kind of how it was with you and I, with our meeting in the game that we had together?
Yes, you found out in the locker room when we got in there, and I think our partner Kim said, "Oh yeah, this is my second game," and you were like, "Yeah, I think this is my third game," and I said, "This is my first game," and they're like, "Don't worry about it. It's all good. This is only my second," and I'm like, "No. This is my first Division I game ever."
Wow.
And
nice.
Both of you two were just like, "My goodness, we got a baby. Welcome." And that's how it started.
Well, you know what? How about, first of all, really, really happy that I was a part of your first game. That's always a feel good for any referee, to have that opportunity. But I think more so what made me even more excited and more happy to hear was to hear you talk about how we made you feel. Because so many times, as a leader and as a crew chief, you do your best to make sure you uplift your partner, to make sure you try to take away just the nerves, and because we all have them when you're starting out. Because you want to do well, you don't know it's to expect the unexpected. And when you told me how I made you feel and how the crew made you feel, that was just huge, because I think for the world, referees need to know that they can be impactful, and it had nothing to do with blowing a whistle. It had nothing to do with going out and doing the game. It was just in the locker room, referees preparing to go out and work. But there's a couple of things that when you told me, I said, oh my God, you just made me feel so good to know that this is how we made you feel, which is so important, because when you're out there for your first assignment, you want to know that you have someone in your corner. You want to know that people are supporting you, that you have someone behind you. And we showed you as a crew and me as a leader that we had your back, that you didn't have to not worry about anything. So just kind of go into a little bit of that as far as how you felt with that whole situation.
Okay. Well, you know what, Violet? Even before that episode, we can go back to the summer camps.
Okay.
When we were down in Palm Springs and Cathedral City, and it's high 110.
You're going way back too. Mm-hmm.
And we're in there watching the games, and they're like, okay, we're done, but come here. Let's go over here to this gym. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. Who are they? And they're like, that's so-and-so, and that's Violet Palmer. And I'm like, okay, Mel's told me about Violet, so let me watch. And just to see your interactions, even during summer, you had your crew, because it was, different crews. You had the crews smiling, and after the game, you made it a point to go and shake their hands. And, I'm just kind of taking it all in.
Wow.
So when I got my schedule, when I got picked up and I got my first schedule, those were you looked and you counted, and I had 4 games, and I counted it probably about 14 more times to make sure.
I love it. Yeah.
I got the 4 game, 1, 2, 3, 4.
People don't know. You know what, Schel? People do not realize how that we do that, because that assignment is big. Trust me, I know exactly how you feel, because I would look at my schedule 100 times, and I would count, put the dates in my calendar, double check it, triple check it, because you want to make sure you ain't gonna miss that.
No,
you're not gonna be late. You're not gonna miss it. So I love the way you say that, with the excitement of getting those 4 games. And for all of us, we've experienced that as a young, Division I official, or of Division II, or high school. It really doesn't matter. Right. It's just those first assignments are so big in our career. So just to hear you say that just makes me laugh, puts a smile on my face.
That was back when we got it in the mail. So you're going through and you see all those.
Right. There was no emailing or anything like that. Right. Wow. You're showing our age, Schel. You're showing our age, but I like it.
I know.
Need to know.
So as soon as I got that, the letter, and I opened it up, and, you see who your partners are. And of course I had to call my mentor, Mel. I'm like, hey, look what I got. And I said your name. And then when I finished, he's like, hey, I got to go right now, but let's talk. So later on, we talked, and he's like, okay, when you go to this game, it's at the Thunderdome, UCSB.
Wow.
It's a 2:00 game. You're supposed to be there at 12:30. He said, I want you in the parking lot before 12. And I'm like, what? Get to that parking lot. Now, Isla Vista it's probably like 40 miles. And where we live, 40 miles is 40 minutes,
Absolutely. Right.
So I pull in there, stop by McDonald's, got me food, because I hadn't eaten all day, but now I'm hungry. So I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting. I'm like, why? But I got to trust him. All of a sudden, I see you pull up, and I look in the car. I'm like, there she is. And you and our partner rode together. You got out of the car, and he said, I want you to write down and be able to tell me how all of this happened. I said, okay. She got out of the car, trunk went open, she grabbed her stuff, they closed it, and they walked. So when I went back and I told Mel that, he's like, that's a professional. Think about it. When you pull up to a Division I game, and I use this for every division, you don't get out and start putting your makeup on or changing clothes or taking water out and wiping your forehead and looking in the glove box and got your trunk and all the doors open. No, you're a professional. You get out, get your bag, and go.
There you
Just
go.
like the airport, you
Right.
know. I was like, okay, all right, now I understand. So when we got in there and you found out, later on I reflected on it. It seemed like, Violet, the vibe changed in that locker room. It went from, hey, how you doing, to, okay, I got a job to do. And I've used that same scenario when I'm dealing with young teachers or administrators. It was you wanted to make me feel comfortable. You started asking me questions and like, okay, well, this is what you said. Okay, you know what? I'm going to work on closing down a little bit more because you just finished the Final Four,
Wow.
and you're like, because you remember that game and you kind of stopped and you're like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work. Schel, what are you going to work on? And whatever, I think I said, when there's a shot taken, I'm going to take a step down no matter if I'm in the sea or if I'm in the trail. I'm going to take that one step, but I'm going to be ready to book. My first Division One, I got to put my jets on.
Right.
And you said something in effect of, I didn't even think about that. I think I'm going to do that too. And as the whole pregame went, I found myself talking.
I love it.
I will know when you get in there, other officials, bless their hearts, they said, Schel, you got to remember one thing when you go to do that Division One game. Nobody, your partners, the coaches, the players, nobody wants for them to have you doing their first game. They want veterans. They want good officials out there. So you shut your mouth. When you go meet the coaches, you don't say anything but how you doing, and you answer a question. You don't start telling them what you're going to do and how the weather was and how was your game. Nobody wants to hear your mouth. They don't even want you on the game. So that was the mentality I had going in. So by the time we finished up in that locker room, Violet, I felt like we had some walk-up music when we were walking out of that place.
I love it. We did in our own heads, by the way, anyway, but you're right. You're right.
The Thunderdome, you had at least 5,000-6,000 in there.
Yeah, no, that's a tough place for a first game.
Yeah.
That was huge, which is great for you, though. I mean, what a great memory. And I think the key, you just said a couple of things that really stand out to me. And it's funny, and I think with this segment, what's so good is that we're going to have so many young crew chiefs that work with a lot of different referees that you have to understand as a leader. At that point in time in my career, I was no better than you. Regardless if I had a larger schedule, if I had worked Final Fours, that doesn't matter. My job as a leader and as a crew chief was to make you feel as comfortable, to get to know you. And that's why I was probably asking you questions and wanting you to talk. It's not one of those where you want to come in and I want you to just listen to what I have to say. No, that's not a good leader. A leader is bringing someone in and making them feel valuable and making them feel important. And I think for me, it was more important to make you feel comfortable. It was more important to make you feel like you were a part of the crew, regardless of years of service. We had a job to do. We wanted to go out and we wanted all of us to feel good about us going out. And I wanted you to know that, you know what? You got the assignment. You deserve to be here. I'm with you 100%. And we're gonna be a team. And I think listening to you and when you told me that was the first thing that I thought about. I said, wow, you know what? I made Schel Brown feel like we were a team about to go work. And that's half our battle. We all going, it's how we get through the night. We all gonna miss plays. We all gonna do the best we can. We're all gonna have stuff in the game. But the important part was you didn't feel like you were this outcast. You didn't feel like your level of experience was different than ours. I'm so happy that, obviously for me, because I had great mentors too, which taught me, the do's and the don'ts. But the one thing, and this hasn't changed in my career, even as a supervisor, I want to make people feel like they're important and that them getting the assignments and being part of my team and my family and officiating is extremely important. And that's what I did for you. And that's what I took. When you said that to me, man, you have no idea how positive and how it just made me feel like, you know what? I'm doing the right thing. I'm being the right type of leader. It was just a good example. And this was years ago. This was, before I even had really made it in anything. I was just starting out. I was young, but when you told me that and you gave me that scenario, it was just, what a great feeling that I had, that impact of being with you. Because, you never know. You can make or break somebody's career when they have their first game.
Oh, absolutely.
How you come off. And it made me feel really, really good that I made you feel like you were valuable, you were important, and that, it didn't matter about the years of service, because it doesn't.
And you're right. You're absolutely right, Violet. And one thing that I have seen throughout my years, and even in any type of atmosphere where you have a leader, okay, there's so many different types of leadership styles. And this is an example of, it's called a transformational leadership, okay? And
Right.
if you look it up, it says that type of leadership style inspires, motivates, encourages.
Wow.
And see, there's a book that I'm so glad that I had a chance to read it way back in when I first became an administrator. It was Good to Great. It's called Good to Great. And he says that what stops a lot of people from being great at their craft is when they become good. Okay. And you think about that in sports. To get to the league, no matter what sport it is, to
Correct.
get to the league, you have got to be great at your job. You have to be talented. You have gone through trials and tribulations. But once you get there, now you're a good person in the league.
Absolutely.
You're all good. But how do you elevate that to great is the scenario. And what you did was, we'll say like a good official, okay? A good official, when you walk in the locker room, he or she's gonna let you know that they're good. All right. All right. How you doing? Well, yeah, on ESPN last week, I was doing this, and they're gonna drop a couple of names, and basically the pregame is going to be, well, this is how we're gonna do it today.
Yep. That's the standard protocol for a lot of people. You're right.
This, you got it? Okay. So don't worry about, this or that. This is how we're gonna do it today. And it's good to have that authoritative style, but you don't get your team. You don't walk out as a team. You walk out, this is the boss. I got to do what the boss says. That type of leadership style is when the fight breaks out. And I turn and I look at you and you go, you do this, you do that, you do this. I'm going to look at the monitor. Got it. There's no discussion.
Right.
All right. So with a great official, they bring in the crew and just elevates their style where the whole crew comes out feeling great.
Wow. That's it. You're dead on, Mr. Brown.
And I don't know if you remember. Oh, I know you don't, because there's been so many games you've been, but it sticks in my head. That game, I'm the C, I'm running down. All of a sudden, I blow the whistle. I have a violation. I called a travel. And it was a team from Slovakia. It was a European team.
Right.
And she turned around and gave me a look that was like daggering at me. She looked at me, and so I'm getting ready to head down and be the new lead, and I start to turn, and she bounces me the ball. And she bounces it real hard and puts a twist on it, a spin. Ball goes right over my head. Shoo, right in front of everybody. And I'm running. And by the time I realized what had happened, it was like a stereo of whistles. Came from both directions. You came from one direction, Kim came from the other direction, and I'm like, wow. And you looked at me, you're like, why don't you go minister to the tech?
We had you. No, because she wasn't going to do that to you. Look, because mind you, you are absolutely correct. We're like, you don't know what happened, but we got your back.
And I went and I ministered that tech, and I was feeling like $1 million. And I'm like, all right.
You know what? Because again, Schel, you know what that shows you? We wasn't gonna let nothing happen to you. That's really what that boils down to. We were not gonna let anything happen to you in that game. But I think the key element to this is that, I have such a passion for people and a passion for this game, and I love it with all my heart. listening, you never know if you're doing something right. And I think when you gave me this information, it touched my heart in a way that you really, really have no idea. Because, we all want to be a certain way in this profession. And you think you're doing things right, but you really don't know. But one thing I can say, after talking to you and you giving me the scenario as being when I was a young referee, a young crew chief, a young leader, that I was on the right track. Because making you feel the way we made you feel, and I say this to my referees even to this day, is that I go, the only difference between a crew chief and the rest of her team or his team is that it is my job or that crew chief's job to make that crew think in their head that they are the best crew in the world tonight. Best tonight. That's all you got to do. And however you can do it, but you got to be able, like with us, to bring you in, to get to know you, to not be this authoritarian, you got to do it my way and we're going to do this and this and it. Mm-hmm. No. And that's why asking you questions and getting to know you and making you feel comfortable, because mind you, if we all go out feeling the way you felt on your first game, trust me, we would have a lot better games. No question about it, because everybody goes out feeling like they're part of the team, because that's the prime objective for a crew. Because if you don't have that crew chemistry, you could be the best 3 referees in the country and still be at odds and don't work well. People don't realize that. It's not about, how many accolades you have or how good you are and all of those things. It's about bringing your crew together, making everyone feel comfortable, and being able to feel like tonight we are the best that we can be. And we do that, we can give these players a really, really good product of going out, handling our business, running the game, being good people, being leaders. We're going to miss plays. We all know that. None of us are perfect, but it's how you carry yourself. And you saying what you said, man, you have no idea how just you telling me that story touched my heart. And that was the one reason why I said, man, I got to get Mr. Brown on my show. I just want him to share, because this really, really happened. I didn't create it. It wasn't like I was trying to do something great. I was really just trying to make my partner feel like they were included, trying to make my partner feel like they deserve to be on the game. You deserve to get the assignment. And obviously, when you told me that story about you running down and the player bouncing the ball and us giving the technical foul, to let you know that we had your back, and that makes any partner feel good.
Absolutely. And then at the very end, the conversation during halftime and after the game, I really honed in on it. A couple of things that when I reflect back, I was doing wrong. What was coming out of your mouth was, okay, you know what? I think as a crew, we need to do this or we need to do that. And then as I got more and more into it, the years go by, I started reflecting back. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that when I'm talking, to the other officials. But then on the way out, the very last thing that Violet Palmer told me walking out of the Thunderdome was, hey, Schel, you remember that call that happened? I said, yeah. She's like, that wasn't a travel.
You know why? Because when the plays, we going to always be honest on the plays. See, the plays are the plays. That's literally how I came up with this podcast, is because the play is the play. But here's what's interesting, Schel, is that I waited, not to discuss it during the game, nothing, not even in front of my partner. This is me and you talking. Because I knew you were going to go home and I knew you were going to watch the video. Yep. So all I was saying to you is that, hey, on this particular play right here, I want you to go back. I want you to look at it. I want you to study it, because you were wrong, and which is okay, because none of us are perfect. But it was, again, telling you in a way in which it wouldn't bring you down. It was a way in which when you go back and study, to just let you know that, hey, take a look at that play. And to learn from it and to get better. And that's really the ultimate goal for all of us, that, you know what, as a referee, and I say this to my referees every single night, we're not perfect, but the ultimate goal is to figure out where you're making these mistakes and to learn from them, and you move on. You go to the next game, you go to the next play, and you're always going to have those plays. They're never ever going to go away, but it's how you handle them, it's how you carry yourself. And to hear you talk about that with myself, and this was young in my career. So obviously I had taken what my mentors had given me, and it just goes to show that for the love of this game, I had it from the beginning. And I knew it, I knew when I started refereeing that I was a referee, man. I love this. Even to this day, I love teaching and training. And when you gave me the story, you hit the nail on the head. So, I just really want to say thank you for your time. I want to say thank you for your honesty. I was so proud to be able to be with you and to just make you have a great experience on your first Division I game, because that sets the tone. You can run across some bad people and put a bad taste in your mouth. And a lot of times, we can do that, and we can run referees off, where we can have good people, good referees, and we don't treat them good. And then they end up saying, you know what, I don't want to do this no more, because these are not good people. So at least for myself, having the love of the game, the love of officiating, being a people person, and having the passion of what I do, really, it portrayed to you in a positive way. And I think that's something that I just thought we should share with the officiating community. And I think so many young up and coming leaders are gonna get a lot from this segment, because, you just don't know. You wanna make your crew and your partners feel welcomed. Mr. Kenny Nash and the Nash Palace. Kenny and I, we're going to do the players to play. Kenny, you sent me in a play. How about you tell me a little bit about it? Break it down for me.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to welcome everybody to the Nash Palace. As you can see, it's right here. And we were established in 2005. So we got 20 years under our belt. Thanks for having me. And just super, super excited to be here.
Happy to have you, boo. Always.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I guess we can go ahead and run the play, and let's talk about it.
Okay, what we got?
So what we have here, we can just pause it for just a second, let you know kind of what we got going on. Great ball game. We've got the play we're looking at is a shot being shot at the trail. And what you'll see off near the center is you'll see, a shoe somewhere in the play, and then let's see what happens with the shoe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We'll just let it roll. And what you'll see is we'll have a post player that goes to cut here. Boom. There's the shoe. She goes down.
Okay.
But now we got a kick. 3, 2, 1 shot clock. Whoop. Hold on. So now we have a whistle. Yep. Whistle by the center at the same time as a shot is being taken in front of the trail. So let's take a look again. Now that it's pretty interesting.
It is very interesting. Wow.
We got a shot
you lose
clock.
The shoe. I see it. All right. Shot clock right now is running down. Now, Kenny, here's my question for you. Did the officials whistle go? It looks like the shot got off before the officials whistle. No?
Not at all.
Wow.
The beauty of this is the trail is right in front of it. So stop, go back.
Okay.
So just frame by frame. So watch the center's arms as we're going through the play. So maybe go back 2 more clicks. So just watch our body language from the center, okay?
Okay.
And this is how you can tell that from the trail you can hear the whistle based off of, if we're looking at this on tape, what you're looking for is, how did I know that the ball was in the hand? Well, it's the whistle. Whoop. See the hand movement there? Okay.
Right. Yes.
So that's when the whistle sounds, okay? So the whistle sounds now. So if you really look at the player who's shooting the ball, it's in their hand.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, clearly this official is blowing not for a violation, is blowing really because the shoe, is that really what's happening here?
So it gets even better.
Okay.
So this is really good.
Wow.
So now we get together, and what you might be able to see in some of the other clips is we actually get together. And now the question is, okay, so what are we calling? Because
what are you calling?
What do we have? And so go ahead and stop it. Okay, so what the official says is, he says, "Oh, I got a technical foul for unsportsman, for player conduct, for unsporting act of kicking the shoe. And I said, you said kicking the shoe. I said, okay, did the shoe, did it hit anybody? I think I saw someone fall. Was that? And he goes, nope. It was for kicking the shoe. I said, I said, oh yeah. We're not doing that. And if you watch, you go back to the beginning of this, you'll see, I think the camera gets, I may have missed it, because he's explaining to me, the players are like, wait, I just kicked the shoe out of the way. Right, so that's what they're saying. So now, you see my partner says, okay, go to your bench. He comes over to me, and that partner had already told me what had happened. And I'm explaining it to my other partner. I'm like, I said, this is what it is. See, look, he's saying.
That's where he's giving you that information about the.
I'm like,
he's giving the technical because he should.
And I didn't even bat an eye. I said, oh no, we got an inadvertent whistle. And that's when I looked up at the clock. I said, the ball was in her hand when the whistle sounded. Okay. So that means we can put the ball right in front of the coach where the ball is put in play. Right. Okay. And we got 1 second on the shot clock based off of what I had from the play and looking at the shot clock.
Now, here's what's interesting. You didn't even have to go to the monitor for this.
Nope. I knew as soon as he said that, when that whistle sounded, my eyes went right to the clock.
Absolutely.
When that whistle sounded.
Good. Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And look what I'm explaining.
I see. Right. Very good. Ow.
Right.
Kenny, that dissolved very well.
Oh my gosh. Do you know in the mind when this happens, I'm like, oh my goodness, what do we have? And so I had to explain because here's the bottom line. This is a home team against a visiting team.
Correct.
Okay? I'm in front of the visiting team's bench. Okay. Even though they're up 5 regardless, I don't want them to feel like, oh, now all of a sudden we're going to rescind the tee. Like I'm thinking he wants the tee.
Right.
He wants
it. This to his advantage. Right.
Correct. And the other coach is like, hey, wait a second. My player was just kicking it out of the way. And I went to her first right away. I says, oh, no, don't worry. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I said to the other coach, I said, if this happened to you on the other side, Jeff, I said, Jeff, if this happened the other way, you wouldn't want that either. He goes, oh, no, you're right, Kenny. I said, we got it, and I explained what we had, da-da-da-da-da, and we get this game. Because the game was so good.
Right.
I just didn't want to go. And our flow, the crew was I mean, everybody, the center referees knew we're in the league, so you want to, he had a lot going through his mind. We got to get him reset because what we didn't know was that this game was going into double overtime. And he had another crucial call at the end of the game in double overtime.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this just so when you talk about the play is the play.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's the
play, but depending on what you do with that play, it's going to determine how you're going to reset or get yourself set up for the rest of the plays you're going to have throughout the game.
Absolutely.
And that was really what I was super proud of with that official because he didn't stop refereeing after what really any one of us could have been like, oh my gosh,
he could have went the tank,
the tank.
You don't want stuff like this in your game. But what do I always say? Until you have, I don't want to use that other word, but until you have stuff in your game, you don't know how to handle it. And most of us shy away from stuff. But you want to have it because anything could happen at any point in time, and you have to, within the rules, figure out a way to navigate through it. And the one thing I can say in this instance where you didn't panic, you didn't throw your partners down the tank, you had good communication. You said, okay, come together. Let's come on, guys. What do you have? And he told you what he had, and you instantly said, well, we're not going to give no technical on this play, but you asked questions first, like, okay, did she just kick the shoe out the way? Did the shoe hit anybody? No. So if the shoe didn't hit anybody, where's the unsportsmanlike conduct? Which was the first thing. The second thing is when you guys had your discussion, now you bring your coaches together, and coaches are just wanting you to clarify and to communicate how we getting this ball back in play and what we're doing. And you use that moment because in looking at the video and you bringing them together, it dissolved so fast where it could have went somewhere else. They bought what you sold. And that is such an important piece to our communication with coaches, to be honest, to be firm, but to be concise in what you were going to do, to where they didn't even hesitate. And like you said, hey, you know what? If this happened to you, coach, the visiting coach, if this was in the other way around, I would have treated you the same way I treated them on this particular play. What makes us all human beings, and knowing that we're going to be fair, we're going to try to be as fair as we can, but here's what we have on the play, and here's where we're putting the ball back. Here's the time on the clock. Kudos to you for having all the pieces to the puzzle, because a lot of times we want to run to the monitor to fix something where there's no need to run to the monitor. You had all the information. You just needed to make sure that what your partner saw and why he was trying to say, or why he felt like this was unsportsmanlike. As soon as you got that piece of the puzzle, you knew the ball was still in her hand. You knew it was 1 second on the shot clock. You knew we were going to put the ball back in play at the point of interruption, which made it dissolve very, very quickly. So on a play that could have went crazy, and as the game goes on, you said it was a good game. It continued to be a good game to go into double overtime, which was beautiful, because that's really all we're looking for. We're looking to get in, run the game, and get out as clean as we possibly can. Sometimes we're not able to get out clean. In this instance, you were able to get out clean because of your awareness, because of your awareness of the clocks, because of your good communication with your partners, because of your good communication with the coaches helped you in this instance, which is the whole play, the whole game, really.
Right.
You got the ball back in play, the game continued, you didn't lose your partner, because that's another key component when you're a leader, when you're a crew chief. You want to do things, it's how you come off, it's how you ask questions, it's how you support your partners to help them get through whatever it is you got to get through. And every game is different, every partner is different. And as a leader, you have to figure out how to navigate through that. As a young crew chief and learning, hell, you're not going to be young anymore with plays like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And here again, the official, I give him credit. He made a decision to do something.
Right.
A lot of times we don't do anything because we're afraid. But he told you what he had, which in this instance, you said, well, let me get a little more information. Obviously, no, this is not an unsportsmanlike act, but we really want to thank the player for getting the shoe out of the way, because obviously we don't want anybody to trip over it. Because I've had times where players pick the shoe up and they throw it out of bounds, which is still fine, because you don't you just want to remove it for the time being until we can get the play to stop. We gather the shoe, they can put it back on. Because there's nothing in the rule book that says that you can't play. You have to have a shoe on.
Right.
We've had games where players played until we had a dead ball with one shoe. Who's to say that this will never happen again? Possibly. Right. But at least you've given them some parameters of how to handle this particular situation, or something that can be similar, how they can handle it. So I just want to commend you and thank you for bringing the play. You're really growing in that aspect in your career, and I just commend you. You were one that, you've done a lot of things in your officiating career, and not too many referees, and I can honestly say, you're one of them that literally, you knew you wanted to be a referee from being a little kid. Not too many people could say that. You and only one other referee that I know can say, like myself, I was a basketball player. I got into officiating after playing. In your instance, you knew from jump, I want to be a referee. When you study, you work hard, you teach, you do all those things in refereeing, which I just want to commend you and say thank you. And you're very, very important to my staff, and I love your growth and your leadership and your development. And I just want to say continue, because the sky is the limit for you, Kenny Nash. The sky is the limit. And I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing and just allowing us to hang out with the Nashes. That was really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Really cool. No, thank you as well. I'm really, really grateful to be a part of this, and it's just a great way to grow and learn our whole community. So we're getting with technology and really trying to do this the right way. And I commend you as well, you and your team. This is awesome, and let's just continue to do this and develop it and make it happen.
I love it. Thank you, Boo. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you. All right. Much love, guys.